Hey guys, welcome to Dave's Reefing Addiction. Yeah, I changed the name from Dave's Nano Tanks, basically because I have a 100-gallon tank now, so they're all non-nanos. But I thought I'd talk a little bit about the filtration in my 100-gallon mixed reef. I did a video talking about reefroids and using fuel and miracle mud, and I really don't have much of a bio load in this tank, but I still need to worry about exporting excess nutrients because the fuel and the reefroids, if you overdo it just a little, you're gonna pay for it basically. So you need to have a good export system to be able to feed your fish and your corals heavily. So we'll take a look at what I got here. Basically, we're going to start in the overflow box, which is the box in the back center of the tank, and it has some teeth cut in it, and that allows the water to overflow into it, which actually skims the surface of the tank water. So you can see as we get closer, it's got a bunch of slots in it, and that makes up what's called a weir. So it keeps your fish and things from getting back there. And the water flows over the top of that, through the slots, and then I even blocked the top of it. I'm sorry I can't even see what I'm filming right now, but I'm trying to show you that I have some light diffuser on the top to keep large snails and things like that from getting in there, because they can block the plumbing and create a problem. So let's go around back. I actually have a door behind my system in the basement. And inside that box is two bulkheads, and they come out into 1-inch PVC, and I put T's on top of each one. T's give me a few things I can do. The reason for the T, I don't glue them. You can pull the cap off, and you can actually swab down the pipe and clear it out if anything were to ever get stuck in there, or just to do a little husbandry and clean it out. And then I drill a hole in the top of the caps, and I put this air hose in there. And the air hose, between the air hose and the valve, I'm able to tune it and get the gurgling noise out of it. You'll get gurgling when water's just falling down a pipe, but by tuning it with the valve, you can actually create a siphon. And with the siphon, you're going to actually be able to move more water than just relying on gravity and gurgling and air mixing. So, yeah, it comes out through the bulkheads, and then it travels down the pipes and into the sump. Now, in the 40 breeder sump, there's this one little box, and that's what it returns empty into. And you'll see I have all types of filter media in there. Pond matrix, ceramic rings. I have some rubber rock. Now, I even got a bunch of old frag plugs in there. And just some stuff because it's a very turbulent place. I even have some bio balls and some sponges floating. And I get a great nitrogen cycle right there. Like, it actually, some may say it's even a nitrate factory because of the space between the media and the sponges and the bio balls actually can collect detritus and start to produce nitrates. So every time I do a little maintenance in the tank, I'll try to rinse them out and blow some water and mix that around. But I'm not really worried about nitrates because it spills right over into my refugium. This first section of my refugium is where I keep things that I don't want the Chaeto to block out. Okay, so normally I have more Caulerpa and stuff like that in there, but I am starting another display refugium. So what I have in there right now is just that piece of dragon's breath, and you'll notice a lot of coralline algae on the glass. I just threw a sea urchin in there out of my nano, and he's cleared off that whole top spot. There he is, I just knocked him down. Look, he's even got the bio balls attached to him. That's why I had to get rid of that guy. He would knock things down and pick them up all the time. He's like a decorator urchin. I hope he's going to be able to reattach to something. Looks like he's floating with 3 balloons. Coming around to the side of the tank, I have this door on the side of the tank, and you saw my controllers are mounted to it. But it allows you to get in behind from the side view. You can see now the egg crate and how big the actual refugium is. So in that 1/2-inch pipe, there's a mantis shrimp, and I had a fed him earlier, so in one of these videos I'm going to show you feeding him. He's pretty cool. And there's my Chaeto bed. So you see, I couldn't really have any algae under that because it just grows to the walls and it would block the light out. The lights I'm using is I think it's a 42 watt par 38 bulb with a blue and red spectrum. It's great at growing algae. I'll try and link an eBay link to it and put it in the description. And since I had a 2-socket fixture, I just threw this little 5K LED bulb. It's like to replace a regular light bulb, and it actually looks like a light bulb, but I just pulled the little dome off the top and exposed the lights. And those two bulbs grow that Chaeto. There's another light bar, kind of a DIY LED bar that I made, and I put that in the back area just to help with the other stuff because the light diffuser was blocking it. There's the original tray of Miracle Mud. I put it in September. And you see all kinds of fan worms and stuff in the substrate. That substrate also has about 5 or 6 pounds of Miracle Mud. It was laying on top of it. Some of it got mixed into it. But it's just really full of life. This refugium really packs a punch. Between the filter feeding organisms and all the Chaeto. Even trying to zoom in and show you some of the pods that I can see walking around, but I think between the algae on the glass and the backlighting, it was just too much reflection and we couldn't pick them up. But the copepods are just specks walking all over the glass. It's really incredible. And they also live within the Chaeto. So the Chaeto actually works as a mechanical filter as well, blocking detritus, picking up food. And with all the pods living in it, it's like, think of mechanical, self-cleaning mechanical media. Don't worry, I won't hashtag that. I don't need any trouble with the big guy. But you see how sometimes I just get in there and turn it by hand, but you can see that's like a bale of Chaeto in there. And I turn it by hand so I can, get a little more light in some different spots. And here's an old trick I learned on garf.org a long time ago. And this is corrugated plastic like you would use for lawn signs, things like that. And it looks like cardboard, but it's actually made of plastic. So I cut a few strips up and sunk it with some rocks and a rubber band. And the amphipods will actually start to house in there and breed, and they'll populate it. And I've got 3 or 4 of those within the fuge. And every once in a while I'll grab one and I'll throw it up into the display tank at night and let them move out of there and into the display tank. And it's just a way to get more pods up into the display tank without relying on them to get past the skimmer and over the wall and then up through the pump, which that does do a great job, believe it or not. But I just like to speed things up. Another thing I've been doing, noticing, is in this system I have the skimmer after the refugium. And in most of my other systems, the skimmer was always in the first chamber, and then it would go into the refugium. I've noticed a lot more export being done by the Chaeto this way. And the skimmer doesn't have to work as hard, and it's not even pulling out as much. It's a lot more time between emptying the skimmer, and I'm able to skim really dry at this point. And I did just clean it out. I'm not seeing any pods in the skim mate either. So this is my DIY kind of doser holder, and there's my alk, and then my calcium, magnesium. 4th spot's open, and the 5th spot is my auto top off. So from there, that's the return pump. That's the Jabo pump that I did a little review on, and you can see my aerostone in there bubbling away. There's also a marine pure plate in there, the 1 inch by 12 by 12, or is it 8 by 8? I think it's 8 by 8. But I just threw that in there. because I had it in the skimmer chamber, but it kept falling against the skimmer. And then it would, throw off the gate valve. So, that's basically what I'm getting. You can see some of the micro bubbles in the tank here. So, show you what the bubble scrubbing is doing for me. It's actually helping lift detritus out of the tank and bring it up over the overflow so it can get processed, and it helps the corals to expel, what they've eaten. Look at this guy. Look at this bubble coral. The sweepers on him. Anything that gets hit so far by those sweepers is history. And the only reason I can have those other corals that close to them is that the flow keeps the sweepers from stinging those phobias. Otherwise I wouldn't be able to have them right there. Look, that guy's a killer. Huh. Got a little clove polyp frag in there. Not sure what I'm doing. There's a little side view of the tank real quick. But here's where my returns come back in. And you'll notice I have some lock line with some RFG nozzles on them, random flow generators. But you have to keep the random flow generators deep. So I drilled holes in the lock line. See right below the surface there? So that'll break siphon. And that allows me to keep my RFGs nice and deep in the water. Because if they're too shallow, they'll actually suck air in. That's how efficient they are at the venturi that they have in them to make them random flow. So I have one on each side. And that's the filtration. And there's a little Jabo wave maker in there too. And that thing is priceless. That's the PP8 Jabo. And yes, it needs a cleaning. They're not purple. They're supposed to be black. I got a little bit of nuisance algae growing in the front of it too. So that's the only thing with the Jabo pump. You keep them clean and they'll last you a long, long time. So I hope I enlightened some people on some filtration ideas, or you may do it different. This is the way I do it, and it seems to be working out for this tank. So guys, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and see you on the live streams. Thanks for watching.